Hello! Welcome to my channel. This video is going to be a book haul because I have an addiction. I love buying books, and the past 2 months I think I have bought a bunch of books, more than 20 books actually. I thought that it would be great to just show you the books. So I read a lot of my Kindle, a lot of my phone, whatever, especially before I started really getting into reading. I would read mostly on my phone. So I have a bunch of books that I have actually read, but I really wanted to own the actual book. And the first one of those is Dating Dr. Deal by Nisha Sharma. I really enjoyed this book. It's one of my 5-star reads, but I'm not sure of that anymore. I'm not sure of that rating because it was one of the first books that I read, I want to say, and I don't remember it that well. So I kind of want to reread it to see if I still love it. And maybe if I do still love it, I'm gonna annotate it. So we have Karina and Prem. Prem wants funding for his clinic and is kind of struggling with that. And Karina wants to buy her family house, but her father is like, I'm gonna give it to you under one condition. You're gonna get engaged in the next 4 months. So one day these two end up having a public argument that goes viral, and people start to ship these two together. And then her aunties get in the mix and they're like, okay, we're gonna help you with the funding of your clinic if you make her fall in love with you. And it goes from there. If I remember correctly, it was extremely funny. I really enjoyed it. I love the characters and the aunties were incredible. But yeah, I definitely want to read it again so I can refresh my memory and see if it's an actual 5-star read. Then we have 4 books by the same author, and that author is Tessa Bailey. So I have Hook, Line and Sinker, which is the second book in the Bellinger sister series. I already owned the first book. It happened one summer. I really like both of these books. I do prefer the first one a tiny bit more. And this is about Hannah and Fox. Hannah is Piper's sister from the first book, and Fox is the best friend of Brendan from the first book, and they actually work together. I just really love this series. I really love the little world, the small town, the fisherman town. I will say this is a different size from the first book. I think that there are different editions, even though they are from the same publishing house. This one is a tiny bit taller and it's not floppy, whereas the first one is super super floppy. So I don't know what happened there, but I can't do anything about it. Then I have another series by Tessa Bailey. It's the Hot and Hammered series, and I again have read this series and I didn't love it, but I still wanted to own it because honestly the covers are cute and I really want to own every single Tessa Bailey book because I really enjoy her writing. The first book is Fix Her Up, which is a best friend's brother, a small town romance. And then we have Love Her or Lose Her, which is a marriage in turmoil and again small town. And the third book is Tools of Engagement. This is a reality renovation show, I guess, and it's also age gap, but she is older, which I feel like it's kind of different. Usually the guy is older, at least in the books that I read. The next book is Vacation Words by Megan Quinn. I have already read this book and I gave it 4 stars. It's pretty interesting. So we have Miles and Tessa, and Miles has been working in this hotel his whole life because it's his family's hotel. And Tessa has been going to that hotel since he was young, and they have developed a crush for each other. And basically, years later, Tessa goes back there and they meet, they form a friendship, and then obviously a relationship. Megan Quinn is one of my favorite authors. I love her writing, and this was no exception. The next book that I also have read already is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. This is such a popular book and I'm so happy that I finally read it. We have Stassi and Nate. She's a figure skater and he's a hockey player, and something happens and they end up having to practice in the same arena. Nate is trying to be really friendly, but Stassi is not having it. She's like, no, I don't want to be friends with you. I just want you to go back to your own arena. And then they end up becoming kind of like a friends with benefits relationship, and then obviously lovers because this is a romance. I really enjoyed it. It was so fun. I gave it 4.5 if I remember correctly, and I cannot wait for the rest of the books in this series. And then we're gonna move on to all of the books that I have not read yet. The first book is You, Me, and Our Heartstrings by Melissa C. I love this cover. This cover is so pretty. And it actually is like a pretty short book. I don't know how many. It's 300 books. It's 300 books. It's 300 pages, so it's pretty short. And I'm pretty sure that it's young adult. The two main characters are both musicians, and they have one of their duets go viral, and people start to ship them. But they have a bunch of issues, I guess, on their own, and the whole thing going viral starts to be really hard for them. He has anxiety and she has disability called cerebral palsy. I always love reading about anxiety because I struggle with it, so I always find it really interesting to read about it. I'm very curious about this book. It sounds really good and I'm hoping that I'm gonna like it. Then we have another pretty popular book, One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is the second book that I own from this author. I own The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and I have not read either of them. Everyone knows what this is about, and it's also a movie. So we have Emma, and her husband dies on a helicopter crash, and we see her trying to deal with her life after that. And she ends up rekindling with one of her old friends, I think, and they end up falling in love. But then her husband ends up not being dead, and he's like, I'm coming home. And you basically see her trying to figure out what she's gonna do. And it sounds really interesting. Another popular book is This Violent Light by Chloe Gong. This was very popular on Book Talk. I haven't seen it in a while, but I saw this on my bookstore and I was like, oh my god, the font is so small. The book is thick and the font is small. That is not a great combination. Is this fantasy? I want to say that it's fantasy. A twist on Romeo and Juliet. I did not know that. And it's set in 1926. I think that's kind of like a series and there's a second book. I might be fully wrong. The next book is A Fall Love Story by by Loan Lee. I love reading young adult books in summer. There's something about them. They're so easy and cutesy, and I love the vibes. So the two main characters work for rival restaurants, I think. So obviously their families don't like each other, and they end up falling in love, and it's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet situation, and I'm very interested. The next book is Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. This cover is beautiful. I haven't heard the best things about this book, but the cover is gorgeous. And there's a second book that this author is coming out. I don't remember the name. It might already be out actually, but the cover is kind of like the same style with this one, and I kind of want to own both of them because they're really pretty. So the main character is obsessed with true crime podcasts, and she goes into her hometown. She's starting to think that her neighbor is a serial killer. I think they end up falling in love because obviously this is a romance. And even if this book is not good, at least the cover is really pretty. The next book is Hex Appeal by Kate Johnson, and you might be wondering, a witchy book in the middle of summer? Yeah, because it was on sale and I was like, sure, why not? Am I gonna read it anytime soon? Probably not, but at least now I own it. So she's living in this house with a bunch of other witches, and they basically haven't been paying rent for a lot of years, and the owner comes one day and tries to figure out how they haven't paid rent. And I think that it's the romance between her and him, because obviously they are in the cover. And since we are on the subject of witchy reads, I have another witchy read, which is The Kid's Curse by Erin Sterling. This is the second book. The first book is The Hex, which I read last year, and I thought that it was pretty fun. I think I gave it 3.5 stars, so good, but not anything incredible. And I decided to pick this one up again because it was on sale. I cannot pass up a good deal, so especially when it comes to books. So here we are, another witchy book in the middle of summer. I think it's enemies to lovers. Basically, the girl character on this book is the cousin of the girl character from the first book, and the main male character on this book is the brother of the main male character of the first book. Like I said, I enjoyed the first book. It was pretty fun, and I'm curious to know how I'm gonna feel about this one. Then I got another book by Tessa Bailey, and it's Secretly Yours. This is one of her newer books. It came out, I think, in the beginning of this year, and actually it's the first book in a duology. The second book came out a couple of weeks ago, I think. I really am interested in that, but I want to read this one first. This is Grumpy X Sunshine. I think it's Small Town and its neighbors lovers, and I love the pink. I love the pink. And the second book is Marriage of Convenience, I think, and that is one of my favorite tropes. I kind of want to read this one so I can buy the second one and read that one. Then I have X's and O's by Amy Lee. This is the second book in a trilogy, and it's a trilogy about influencers. I read the first book and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.75 stars. The first book is Set on You, and that was about a fitness influencer and a firefighter, and now this is about a book influencer and a firefighter. So we have Tara and Trevor, and they live with each other, and one day Tara is like, I am tired of not having the romance of my dreams, so I'm gonna have my second chance romance. And she makes a list of all of the guys that she has dated, and she's like, I'm gonna go on dates with them again, and I'm gonna try and figure out if there's a chance that maybe we could end up together. And Trevor is like, okay, yes, I'm gonna help you with that. The first book was incredible. I really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping that this is gonna be the same with that. Then we have another extremely popular book, and that is From Luca with Love by Mariana Zapata. This is the first book by Mariana Zapata that I own and probably that I'm gonna read, and it's pretty thick. It's almost 500 pages, and I'm kind of scared because I know one thing about Mariana Zapata, and that is that her books are the biggest slow burns out there, and I'm kind of scared of that because I love a slow burn, but usually the slow burns that I read are not that long. But I want to try her writing, I want to try her books. I have heard incredible things, especially about this book, but in general about her writing and all of her books, because who knows, maybe Mariana Zapata is my next favorite author. I think this book is about figure skaters, and that's literally all I know. Figure skaters and slow burn. That's it. Then we have All Fired Up by Dylan Newton. I know that she's a book publicist, and that he's an ex-Marine, and they end up renovating her grandmother's house, I think. That's all I know. On the back it says, when sparks fly, their friendship might go up in flames. So maybe it's in Friends Lovers. Then we have Loath to Love You by Ali Hazelwood. For those of you that don't know, which is probably all of you, Ali Hazelwood is my favorite author. I love her books. Now, with that being said, I have read two of her books. So I have read The Love Hypothesis, 1 of 5 stars, and Love on the Brain, a 4.5. And this is a 3-novella wind-ups. So we have Under One Roof, Stuck With You, and Below Zero. Since I don't own Love Theoretically, and I'm actually not buying that until August, so until then, I have this one to get me through the day. The next book is Just My Type by Fallon Ballard. She's the author of Lease on Love. Actually, I have not read that book. I don't even own it. I do want to own this. I do want to own it, but I saw this one and it seemed really cute. And this is second chance romance. Basically, they used to date in high school, and years later, they end up having to work together, and it's the romance between them. I used to not be interested in second chance romance, but lately I have been really loving it. I think that it's really fun, especially when you get flashbacks. Then we have I Kissed Sarah Wheeler by Casey McChriston, and this is the author of Red, White, and Royal Blue, and also One Last Stop. I haven't read any of those books. I'm really curious about them, especially Red, White, and Royal Blue, because it is becoming a movie, and I have seen little clips of it, and I'm obsessed with it, so I definitely want to read the book before I see the movie. But for now, I have this one. I think that it's kind of like a mystery and not so much of a romance. So I think that Sarah Wheeler just disappears one day randomly, and the people that she has kissed try to figure out where she went and try to find her. It seemed interesting. I love the pink and the purple. I really want to try this author, and I saw this and I was like, ooh, pretty. Let's add it to the cart. The next book is How to Fake It in Hollywood by Eva Wilder. When this book came out, it was so hyped and everyone talked about it. This is fake dating, and the two main characters are both actors, and they need the publicity, so they end up fake dating. That's all I need to know, because fake dating is one of my favorite tropes, if not my favorite trope. I have heard a lot of people enjoying it, so we will see how I feel about it. And then the last two books of this haul are part of the same series, and it's the Magnolia Parks universe. I have the Magnolia Parks, the first book, and Daisy Hates first book. The only thing I know about these books is that a lot of people love them, and that they are described as Gossip Girl but make it London, and also that both of these books and every book in this series is gonna break your heart. Every single person that I have seen read these books cries at the end. I have only the first two books because they announced new covers. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that they're ugly, but I definitely prefer these ones, and I panicked and I bought them. And then a couple of days later, they announced that they're actually gonna have both of the covers available. I'm actually really excited to own these books. I have been seeing them for so long, and I really want to love them. I really want to love this universe. Those were all of the books that I bought. Am I going on a book buying ban? No, because I have no self-control. But I am gonna try to not buy any books for the rest of the month of June. But August, we're not even in the month of June. We're in July. But in August, I cannot be held responsible for my actions. Let me know if there is a book in this haul that you saw it and you were like, I love that book, you need to read it. Who knows, maybe it's gonna be the next book that I'm gonna pick up. That's all I had to say. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to. I hope that I will see you in my next video. Bye!